Is your message to any athlete that's kind of watching us or listening to us that ultimately you're going to be better off long-term mentally, even as a performer, without the drugs?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And the sporting part of their life is such a tiny portion, and yet it will be who they are for the rest of their life. You can't get away from that. Once you're an elite professional athlete, it's no matter how short that part of your life is, it's what defines you forever. And you have to be careful, because the decisions you make during that small period will define you forever as well. And as I referred to earlier, it's not as if, often we think it's whether you're caught or not. Well, you got away with it, so that's fine. You never get away with it. And you'll always, it's in your head, and that will trickle out through the rest of your life in other ways. And it's a negative, dark, black space that will affect everyone around you. Loved ones, family, friends, colleagues. So don't underestimate kind of what effect it will have on your life forever. So that's why I'd say don't do it, because it will ruin your life.
You know, it's interesting, I'm equating a lot of this stuff to MMA and the UFC. I've been a fan for a long time, and they've had their own doping issues. You know, they've had athletes leave. They adopted USADA, but only recently, 5 years ago or so, and they're definitely getting better. But the new breed of athlete, the Conor McGregor, are the ones that say, no, I don't need it, I don't touch it. As soon as you ever think about it, you've lost the mental game. And I think most people are fairly confident that he's not using, and a lot of the top athletes aren't. Whereas 10 years ago, probably wasn't the case. Because it was culture. There was no culture. It's not much culture with fighters. They're one guy in Brazil with two dudes in a gym, And so, but I remember Conor was accused like a year ago. Somebody said something like on an interview, and he said, with all the trash talking he does, he said, hold on 1 second. He's like, that's something that is not true. And
that's massively powerful, to have a kind of a figurehead in the sport, be that outspoken and want to be that outspoken about it. That's a very powerful message, and it's something that does have an effect. It's that light for those young athletes coming through. They're like, I believe him, and I want to believe him, so I'm going to believe him. And that has a big cultural effect, a more powerful effect than a life ban if you get caught, because we know that doesn't work. I think the modern sport is changing in that respect. The athletes are being empowered to give that positive message, because they're unshackled now by being surrounded by older athletes, perhaps who had done it, who don't want to speak about it, even if they are clean, because there's skeletons in their closet. And I think also it's harder now than ever, beyond the actual anti-doping measures that are in place, to dope, because if you're doping, it involves quite a lot of secrets. And we live in a world where there's very little privacy, and the technology is so advanced that conspiracy theories are becoming a thing of the past, in the sense that the information's there. So I think that the internet we can blame a lot of things on, but I think it's actually helping sport, because it's removing privacy.